Okay, we are in Shaar Bay's Parak Yud Zayin, and if you have a sefer, please look inside, because I'm going to do the some text here. So far, what we learned is the importance of Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. We spent a lot of time talking about it, which is the whole makeup of the person. The Nefesh and Ruach is what makes us alive. We see the life is totally in breathing, al pi halacha, right? And not in talking, but in breathing, which is the first Nefesh Ruach. And then we looked a lot about what the union of a bracha is, and Hashemayim, Shemayim, L'Hashem, V'aretz, Nosan, Livnei Adam. You see, we said this morning in Hallel, right after we say Hashemayim, Shemayim, L'Hashem, V'aretz, Nosan, Livnei Adam, Loi HaMesim, Yahallelujah, Loi Koyor Deiduma. That if you're dead, you can't pull this, you can't do Nefesh Hachaim. Because what it requires a complete hiskashrus all the way from the Nefesh, which is that which can speak and that which can breathe, all the way to the Neshama, and that's what we've learned so far, and then we started getting above the Neshama. Why is it important to get above the Neshama? Not because we want to be Mekubalim. What's important about getting above the Neshama is that we need to connect all the way to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The idea is the hiskashrus. See, just again, like when we're davening, so the big Indian is that it's not just we're davening, we're praying to Hashem to help us. Of course, we can't forget about that either. But what the main thing of davening is that this is a system. Davening is a system, a gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, wherein we humans can connect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, we're basically bringing, it's not just us going up, we're bringing HaKadosh Baruch Hu into this world, like a Beis HaMikdash, like a Mishkan. That's the whole Nakuda of davening. So therefore, the hiskashrus is all very important. So it has to come all the way down to the world of Nefesh, which is also the world of Malchus, and it has to go all the way up to the Ein Sof. And that's where we're trying to reach, to understand the different links. If you're high tech, you can get past Neshama. If you're low tech, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, which is already in Avodah. So Amnam Oid Yesh Lelikai Milan, there's more to say about this from Hashem's point of view. Lifnei Ha'eved Elikim B'Kedusha, if you are worshiping Hashem B'Kedusha, B'Bchina Yoiser Pratis, if we get more detailed, more under the hood, how things work, what the real technology is, B'Hu B'Bchina Shoyrish HaNeshama. So until now we went Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. We all know that clear in our sleep, right? But now we're getting to the Shoyrish HaNeshama. Where does that Neshama come from? Like just to help understand this question, think about a new idea. If there's a new idea, a brand new idea, you think of something new, nobody ever thought of it before. Is it possible? Like I look at things, I think all the new ideas are gone already. Like there are no more new ideas.
It was impossible. I got a business.
What?
I got a business. It wasn't.
No, but is it an application of an old idea? Like it's a hard thing, a new idea, a new niggin, or is it something which is so? There's this idea of Shurish HaNeshama. I don't know if it's new, but there's this idea of Shurish HaNeshama, like getting something a complete chiddush. And that's the Shurish, and everybody presumably. Well, we're going to talk about it, has a different Shirish HaNeshama. But again, it's Nefesh Ruach Neshama, that's me. As the Baal Tanya explains, higher than that is not really me, it's where I draw my energy from. And everybody has a different outlet to get their energy from. Another word for Shirish HaNeshama, Nishmasa l'Nishmasa, the Neshama of the Neshama. Because the Neshama is that which gives energy into the Ruach and the Nefesh, and the Guf. And now, what gives energy to the Neshama? The Neshama of the Neshama. Hu Nishmasa l'Nishmasa. Hanisker b'Zayar v'Nikras, another word for this, which is already a word which is found in Chumash, is Chaya. V'atihi la'adam, v'yihi la'adam, ha'adam l'nefesh Chaya. Nefesh, Chaya. Nefesh is here, Chaya is there. Chaya is on the highest level. So what we have is Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya. Chaya kipshutai kemashmai, that which gives life, chaya. But it's more than that which gives life, because that which gives life would be called michaye. So what Chaya doesn't mean that which gives life, although it does give life. It's that which is life. Source of life. Chaya, unto itself, it's life. It's not Hashem. We're not holding by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're not holding by the Ein Sof yet. That's further. I don't know if we'll ever get there. But where we can get to is Chaya is the source of life. If a person is completely connected to Chaya, this idea of Chaya, which we're going to learn about, doesn't have to be a mystery, we would never die. Because Chaya is life. Chaya doesn't die. We die, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama dies, but a person would never die. That's why Adam Arishan, Koydem Achet, would have never died, except that he disconnected himself from the source of Chaya. Neshama died. Neshama leaves the goof. Correct, but our if we were connected completely to our neshama, which was plugged into the chaya, we as a nefesh would never die. Adam Rishon would have never died. And then the chumash would be very much different, right? Because there would be no hilchos tumas meis, there would be no misa space, there was nothing, like all the inyanim of misa, nobody would ever die. The whole thing was a new approach. God had to rewrite the Torah quickly. There'd be no chumash. Yeah, we're getting to Yechida. The Adam Harishain, Hisiga, and Adam Harishain not understood this, but reached this. Talking about Adam Harishain Koydem Achet. He was connected to the Chaya. And also, be medayik here, HaYechida HaNichleles Ba. In Chaya lives Yechida. So everybody knows, anybody who's ever gone to a Tanya Shiur knows, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, Yechida. Everybody knows this. But the diuk here, we're going to, for the first time, understand it a little bit, that Chaya has in it a bechina of Yechida. Yechida, Chaya is the source of life, but Yechida, Hanichleles Ba, which is part of that Chaya, as I keep saying, is not to be taken lightly, because also Kishmoy Kenhu. Just like Chaya is life itself, and the source of life, Yechida is the particular ray of life which comes to our lives. Meaning there's no, at this point of the Yechida Shebachaya, it becomes like a prism where the kav, where the or HaKadosh Baruch Hu shines through and comes out differently, Yechida, for every Chaya. So we're talking about the individuality. So when we talk about individuality, this is not just a self-help idea that we're all individuals. It's a much stronger thing that the Metzius is the way we're created is Chaya and B'toicha Yechida, a very special prism of light which comes to us. So there's no two people that are the same, no two thinking that's the same. This is the if one spends their life trying to act like someone else, you miss the whole boat. Can't be. You can learn from people, you can have role models, but to try to be like someone else, or to try to even reach a madrega that somebody else reaches, or not reach your madrega is completely erroneous, because then you're not getting in touch with your Chaya Yechida. So the Chaya Yechida starts to become human. This is the source of everything.
When you use the term Nefesh Yechida in Chabad, is that the same thing, or is it a different connotation?
I don't know. I don't know where you mean. So Adam Arishan Hisiga Ulabchinas HaYechida Nichleles Ba Soid Oilam. Now we have another word. We're getting vocabulary here. Adam Kadmon. Adam Kadmon, which is, like whenever you come to Adam Kadmon, let's skip that. Let's not skip it. So Adam Kadmon has nothing to do with Adam Arishan, per se. This is a big mistake that people make. Adam Kadmon is not Hashem. Adam Kadmon means that if you'll the best that I can explain it, or lefi what I can be masig of it, is that before there's an Adam, which is us, the one you see in the mirror, there's a spiritual microcosm of that in Shemayim. And from that comes out the Adam. This is the way the world was created. For instance, there's Yerushalayim Shel Mata, there's Yerushalayim Shel Mala. So whatever's going on in Yerushalayim Shel Mala, and it's not probably something you could touch, feel, or see, whatever it is, when it is Sedruk Sechais, it comes and manifests itself in this world as a Yerushalayim Shel Mata, as a Beis HaMikdash Shel Mata. So the same thing is with Adam. We're Adam. So Adam has that original spiritual DNA which from there, if we had the eyes to see it, we can see everything that can come out. But I want to explain this. This is actually a fascinating idea. But just understand the vocabulary that he's setting down for us. As Nefesh Hachaim is a good teacher, Shiva Volozhin, right? He's a good teacher. So Adam Kadma, as he calls it, or as Zohar calls it, Adam HaKadmoin, is the Adam before it manifests itself into a physical place. So that Adam HaKadma, or Adam HaKadmoin, which is the words I'm used to saying, is there together. It's really for our purposes synonymous to Chaya Yechida. So Yitzchak, don't bring in other concepts because it's going to make it more complicated. Just let's stick with me for a minute. So we have what we are. It's so much what we are and what's outside of us that in the Zohar this is called the kav hayashar and the kav hamakif. So there's the kav that goes through us, and then there's that which surrounds us, like a lavush. But in that lavush, like before we're even a germ, a physical piece of flesh and blood, before anything like that, where there's Adam HaKadmoin, there's what this person, almost like a blueprint of the DNA blueprint of what the person is on a spiritual level. No, then that is the kav hamakif, right? Which we need to fill in.
Is that the Ratzon or is that the manifestation of the Ratzon?
So again, it's Ratzon, but I just don't want to confuse myself. So what is he? Kimavor lemavin, you'll understand. This is clear if you understand. Beitz Chaim Seif Shaar HaMoichin. You get it, Moichin. Sha'adam Arishan Zacha lebechinas Chayo Yechida Ha'amitim Bimkoimam Ha'ikari. Ayin Reish Gilgulam Parakid Zayin Sham. So Adam Arishan, as he was created, which is man as he's meant to be. Man as he's meant to be is connected not just with what's in me, that's relatively easy, the Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, but also what's outside of me, I can connect to the source. But Emerson, if you don't connect to the source, as I keep on saying, you could have the best iPhone in the world, but if you're not connected to Wi-Fi, it's almost, what are you going to do with it? You can't do anything. If it's not connected to a telephone network, what are you going to do with it? You have to have something power it, but that's outside of it. It's not inside of it, it's outside of it. Like every appliance, there's got to be some external power. So the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, and specifically created Adam, the world too, is that he created this, I had a good word a minute ago, what was it? DNA blueprint. It's the spiritual DNA blueprint. And from there, and if we can connect to that, what happens if we can connect to that? Not only we becomes one kesher and one link closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but we can see who we really are. Specifically, who we really are, not just who we are as a people. See who we really are. Chaya Yechida. And that would be Geshmak. There was a time that, the Gra says in Mishlei, there was a time that we went to a Navi for this. The Navi would tell us what we really are. And the Gra, the Lashon of the Gra in Mishlei, is the Navi would look at us and somehow through Nevuah, be able to tell us what our Shirish Neshama is. Shirish Neshama, our Neshama l'Neshama, our Chaya Yechida, our Adam HaKadmoin, whatever term you want to use, he seems to be saying it's all one thing. The Navi would see it.
What our mission?
There's today. What are we? And Mamela, what our mission is. I mean, there's people today that claim to be able to see this. Kabbalah, Rebbes, whatever. Maybe yes, maybe not. But the Nevi'im saw it. Yeshayahu saw it. He went to him and he said.
So does this occur even if a person isn't on that level of being that connected to Chaya Yechida? Is there still some remnant of this that we have?
For sure.
Identity.
It's who we are. It's just we're not connected to who we are. To put it in modern terms, if we're not connected with our heart and with our Rosh, with our Shel Yad and Shel Rosh, to what we are, to the Chaya Yechida.
But it's still there.
It's there. It's a Metzias. If it wasn't there, we would be cut off and we wouldn't have any.
You have the Wi-Fi connection, you can't get the...
Yep.
What's the blockage?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. If we're using the metaphor, the Torah is the password, right? That's the...
Torah is the password.
V'zeu ikar kavanosam zal, and this is the main shot in Bereishis Rabbah, Shedarshu b'pasuk, Toitzei ha'aretz Nefesh Chaya. Right? Could have just said Toitzei Or, it's Nefesh. No. Toitzei Or, it's Nefesh Chaya. That Hashem created the Chaya, the source of life in Shemayim. And now the creation is such that now, Nefesh Chaya comes. Toitzei Or, it's Nefesh Chaya. Comes out of the ground. In other words, this kav of Or comes all the way down to the ground, out comes a person, but it's all because it's connected to this Chaya above. Afilu nafshay shel Adam Harisha. Even the nefesh of Adam Harisha, afilu nafshay shel Mashiach. What he means by of the afilu is a schwer word, but what he means to say is that who we know has ever completely connected to their Chaya Yechida would be Adam Harisha, Koydem Achet, and Mashiach.
Moshe?
No, Moshe didn't live forever. He wanted to.
Did he work on it, or
He did work on it. That's what he said. Let me go to Eretz HaChaim. He did not live forever. So Eliyahu Navi and Chanoich.
Oh, Adam Arisha, did he have to work for it, or
No, he worked against it.
yeah, he had it.
It's a default with everybody. But we all got there, by the way, just to be Bakar V'Lasech, we all got there at Har Sinai. At Har Sinai, Vayichan Sham Yisrael Neged Ahar, and you need to understand that also. We all came to a Madrega where we were all connected at Har Sinai to the Chaya Yechida.
Like Adam Rishon Kodesh V'Chet.
Like Adam Rishon Kodesh V'Chet. And there would not have been Misa. If not for the Egel, there would not have been Misa anymore. That would have been the end of Misa.
But there was Parcha Nishmasim, it sounded like what they...
And there was Tchias HaMesim. Tchias HaMesim is a reconnect. Reboot.
There would not be Misa even for the Goy?
See, how did the Nefesh Hachaim even understand this? How could he get it?
There would be no Misa even for the Goyim after?
I don't know about Goyim. Anybody who's a proper Nefesh. There was no Goyim, no Jews by Adam Arisha.
No, by Har Sinai, after Har Sinai.
At Har Sinai, so we came to, the Jews
Yeah, the Jews, yeah.
came to this place where there would not have been Misa anymore. And then it was short-lived. It was short-lived. And this was, by the way, the whole tension going there on there at Har Sinai of we want to get the Torah ourselves. Let us hear from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then they said, no, that's too scary. We don't want to hear from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This was a kind of a weak connection between the Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, and the Chaya Yechida. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Yes, no. It was, it's like Moshe Rabbeinu says, Gezotei, you want to hear yourself. So they go yourself. Then they say, no, you tell us. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't even say yes, no. He says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, hey, tivu asher tiberu, whatever they want. Okay, no.
So already then they came down from that level.
They came down from the level.
It was right then.
And built an egel.
40 days later, but between when they said, we'll get it from Moshe and the Chet Egel, they weren't.
There was a
they weren't
nechais
to that-
darga in the
they
Lashon
weren't
of,
to that place.
the Zohar calls it nechais darga. But it was okay. It was okay because Adam La'amal Yulad, and we would work up to it. But we didn't work up to it, we worked, a little bit up. What?
Sounds like it's scary, that Madriga. From Psukim, you say.
Well, I guess it's as scary as knowing who you really are.
They didn't want it.
They didn't want it. But it's not they were afraid of the thunder, they're afraid of themselves. Like, to see who you are, it's a, yeah. I want to read a little bit now. I want to tell you something very interesting about this, about Matan Torah, etc. Ayin Zayar Shmois, Yud Beis Amud Aleph. I'd just like to read this just to show you his Bekiyas. Look at the Zayar and Shmois of a Parsha Shlach Kuf Ayin Daled Raza Dechsiv. The meaning, the remez of Toitzei Arts Nefesh Chaya, Uba Parsha Shmini Lametes Amud Beis Ves Kol Nefesh Chaya V'Chulu. Ayin Soif Parshas Veschanan b'Masnisin Vayin Ramban Zal b'Pasuk Nasa Adam et Salmenu Ki Ruach Hashem Diber Boy. V'chein Haya Adam. Okay, we'll do that. V'chein Haya Adam Arishan Muchan Lichyois La'olam. And therefore, Adam Arishan was created to live. He was created to live forever. He would have stuck with that madrega. He would have lived forever. Understand this pasuk carefully. Chachma techaya ba'aleha. Chachma is, there's the seven spheros. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Chod, Yesod, Malchus. And then what's on top of that? Keser, Chachma, Bina. So Chachma to Chaya is Baleha. Understand what it means is that the midah of Nefesh, of Chaya Yechida, comes from the place of Chachma. That's where it's hooked up. It's hooked up in Chachma. In Chachma to Chaya is Baleha, v'lechein nikras Chaya. That's why we're Chaya. V'zeu toitzei haaretz Nefesh Chaya. U'bechatoi. But when he sinned, nistalka himenu, we lost it. Ein mashikos of Arizal perak Tosvav u'bereish perak Chavalu u'bereish perak Lamed Hey me'al Gilgulim u'meyaz. And from that point on, le'zacha elal shum adam ba'ida b'zeh ha'olam. Nobody was ever zoichet to this again. V'chanoich. What about Chanoich? Kishigiel l'zoysa madrega. When he did reach his madrega, Chanoich did reach Chayo Yechida, meaning complete connectivity to a place of Chaya which can't die. V'yaresh malosei shel Adam Arishin, because he was yoresh the madrega of Adam Arishin koydem achet, k'may shekasav b'zayir chadash truma lamed hey amud gimel. V'sham b'shir ashirim nun dalad, ayin shama b'rayim ehem nekadoshim, masnis and soif parshas v'eschanan, k'may shapir shema ha'arizal b'parshas b'reishis b'drush Adam Arishin, u'bilgugulim parak yud ches ayin sham, k'may shekasav sham parak lamed hey. Just read all that when you get home. The world, as we know it, couldn't handle a chanoich. When a human being came to the madrega of Adam Arishin Koydem Achet, the world wasn't holding there anymore, because there's a world too. There's a world also. And he needed to literally pass away. V'chein Eliyahu. So you got the whole thing. Chanoich Eliyahu. Nistalik mizel olam keshehisik sas mioisa hazira al ilah. Nistalik mizel olam keshehisik sas mioisa hazira ilah. So this is dangerous, because the world can't deal with it. Too much wattage. The world can't deal with it. Tomashikazav parakut tasmi al gilgulim u'kamashamar bazar v'yigash resh tes reish ayin beis amar lekut shabrichu va'alma leyachal misvalechin bnei nasha. The world now is made for people.
We're not saying that the individuals couldn't, that they could handle the world. We're saying
the world couldn't handle them.
Them being in the world.
It's not a match. It's no longer a match.
So like Shiur Sakelu?
We're hoping that we will get there again after Tchiyas HaMesim, Im Yirtzeh Hashem.
Does it mean individually we hope, or the whole world?
The world. Shi'arei aleinu ruach mimaram. It would be delightful. Like mitzad echad, we wouldn't die. There wouldn't be any death. Which, let me just explain this Nakuda here, is only delightful if the world would be different. Because the world as it is, like, who wants to stay here forever? That's not a death wish or something. I'm just saying, like, it's nothing so, it would be better, in theory, it would be better to shed, the goof, especially as it gets older. It's like not such a, it's Nefesh Haber, but it's not such a great goof. Like, better to shed it, and be able to be free. That would be better. So this world is not, so if somebody's going to live forever, what do you want to live forever here for? So Chanoich, Eliyahu Navi, they didn't live forever. Adam Arishin didn't live forever. But after the Tchiyas HaMesim, we will live forever. So the idea is the world will change. It'll be a world of Geula, a world of Mashiach, a world of Ruchnius.
If that's the case, what then, at that moment, would be Olam Haba?
No such thing.
It wouldn't be Olam Haba.
No need. Look, it's altogether. I never let a shiur go by without just a little bit of heresy. But Olam Haba, as you understand it, it's incorrect in my opinion. Olam Haba is a holding center until Tchiyas HaMesim. Meaning, there wouldn't have been a need for Olam Haba if Adam Arishin would have never died. The Rambam says this before. That if Adam Arishin would have never died, so not only there wouldn't have been Hilchos Tumas Meis, there wouldn't have been Olam Haba. What do you need for? What's it for? Who's going to go there? Who's going to go there? Maybe a place where neshamas that weren't born yet are hanging out, and they're coming into this world. But Olam Haba, now that, like the Rambam says in Hilchos Tshuva, now that Adam Arishan did a chet, and we do chatayim, and now that we die, so the tzaddikim are in a holding pattern, which is apparently nice according to some reports, and we're there, like it's just have to understand that it's a business class lounge. Or if you're not a tzaddik, you have to wait with everybody else at the airport. Like it's a hellish experience, because meaning you need to have a kapara, and you need to get yourself ready for Tchias HaMesim, and it's gefährlich, But okay, the tzaddikim that accomplish their tikkun in this world are in Olam Haba. Once there's Tchias HaMesim, no more Olam Haba as such. And what the Rambam says that you're referring to is this is Olam Haba. Olam Haba hu zman haTchiyah. That's what it means. So Olam Haba is a kilu had to be created once Adam Rishon did a chet. Hu b'chinas, and this is what I started off with. Hu b'chinas shorish hamachshava shel Adam. So now remember this: that nefesh, ruach, neshama, machshava, dibur, meiser. Remember how that's makbil? Chaim has a chart, right? Of all the different threes. Now we have to move to fives. So the highest level is machshava. Machshava, you think something, you speak it, and then you do something. So you could do something without any kavanah at all. You could have kavanah without doing anything. So the idea is machshava, dibur, ma'isa. You have everything involved. The same thing is you can b'chol levavcha or b'chol nafshecha. So you could say the words of davening of Kriyas Shema, but your neshama is not involved. You could do a mitzvah with ma'isa, and your neshama is not involved. So neshama ruach. Nefesh is the same thing as machshava, dibur, ma'isa. The difference is that one, I believe, the difference is, I'm not saying anything I saw, I'm just saying something which I think is pashut, is one is mibachutz and one is mibafnim. Meaning it's easy for us to relate to machshava, dibur, ma'isa. It's a cognitive thing. Machshava, dibur, ma'isa. But it's really the same thing that's happening. It's an energy which is coming from lamala ad lamata. The same thing as neshama, ruach, nefesh, which is happening on a spiritual level. So one's b'chutz and one's bifnim. But gets to this question I said, the very first thing I said when we started here, is that, so where does a new thought come from? Where does machshava come from? Do I actually sit and think of something that nobody ever thought of before? There's all kinds of research on this, that, there's almost no song which is original. I remember Shlomo Carlebach told me once that I talked to him a lot, but he said every niggin, like who's a bigger Balmanagin, like every niggin that he made up was always while thinking in his head or humming the tunes of the Yamim Naraim. So fascinating, right? So in other words, the tunes of the Yamim Naraim, which he was a Bakian, so he's thinking whatever. I die. How does it happen? I don't know. But different tunes of the Yom Neraim sparked the nigunim that he had. So in other words, it had a shayrish also, and he would say it's not original. It's not original. It's coming from the Yom Neraim. Just it's like a not a variation, but like a branch grows, like a branch grows out, like a what do you call a sprout comes out of the Iker Yesod. In Lahavdil and non-Jewish music, so today they analyze it. You can computerize. With a computer, you can analyze every piece of music, and you'll see where it's a rip from. Like it's even little pieces, and everybody's suing each other over this stuff. Because is it? It's not really yours, or is it? So who is the original machshava? Like where? Everything makes you think of something else, but to think of something completely new is so the only where this can come from, the only place this can come from is from Chaya Yechida. The only way there could be something new, a new machshava, is from Chaya Yechida. Hu b'chinas shorish hamachshava shel Adam, ki b'chinas hamachshava hu kishemedabek. What is machshava? Kishemedabek machshavte lachshav eze inyan prati. You concentrate on some detailed point. Who bechinas neshama? Remember, machshava neshama, right, Chaim? Kamashikasav v'nishma shakai tevinem. V'az machshava museges al kol panim laha'adam atzmei ha'machashev. So that's how you can bring something new into this system of machshava dibur amaisa, by connecting to something higher. So look, there's people that claim they can do this with meditation. There's people that can do it with tefillah. People can do it with Torah. Yes, there's. I'm not saying there's no new machshavas. I'm just saying if our machshava is not connected to the Chai and to the Yechida, then you don't have that connection. Of course, Hashem is creating it every day, but I'm hearing it this way. It's all parallel. So you'll hear something from me, I'll hear something from you, and that'll make you think of something. No question about it. It's more than that. This morning I said a Dvar Halacha, or I had a kasha on a Gemara. You can hear it on the. So somebody just wrote me just before I came. WhatsApp that he just listened to my halacha, but he has a kasha on the Gemara. So I wrote him back. That's exactly the kasha I just asked. So so this happens to me all the time. Must be something about me. You can say something. You can tell somebody a joke, and they tell you back the joke. It's their joke. There's no. You tell somebody a story. It's their story. It's interesting. So maybe it's a good teacher. They make it feel. Can feel like it's their. But the point is that there's very, very little new. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's almost impossible. But when Mashiach comes, so then it's Shir Chadash. Shira Chadasha, Shibchu Geulim L'Shimcha. You know how the Ramban says that Shira Chadasha is that right now there's how many notes are in the musical scale? 8, 7. Do, re, mi, 7. So when Mashiach comes, there's going to be an 8th note. So people, musicians, they hear such a thing and they say it's just an impossible thing. It's an impossible thing. How could there be an 8th note? It's before Shir Rabban. 8, right? Well, I'm not sayach Allah shminis mizmor LeDavid.
Who says that?
The Ramban. Before Shir Rabban. That there's going to be an 8th note. Actually, I once saw this in the Ramban, then I couldn't find where I saw it, and then just recently I saw it and wrote it down, so I even know the Maramakim. But the Ramban says clear that there's an 8th note. There's something new. Shira Chadasha, Shibchu Geulim L'Shimcha.
You need the 8th note to make the new song?
It's otherwise you see, everything's been done, or can be done. Yeah. I read that a mathematician showed Beethoven that there is a finite amount of music that can be created in this world. Not that he's anywhere near it or anybody's near it, but there is a finite amount of music. And when Beethoven heard this, he fell into a deep depression and eventually died.
I guess the computer could create everything.
L'chara, just keep on going. It's a supercomputer. So, but to him, he was connecting to the infinite in his mind through music. But he wasn't. He wasn't connecting through the infinite. If you're working with 7 notes, it's finite.
This is like string theory, by the way. String theory says we're only living in 4 dimensions out of a possible 11 or something like that.
Okay.
We're just.
Now let me. Yeah, thank you. Make it easier for. Take it out. Make it easier for us. Avol shirish makar moitze klolius koyach hamachshava hu tamir v'nelam lagamri. The shirish of it all is hidden. She'enoi musa gam la'adam atzmai me'ayin timsa. It comes from nothing. It's like yesh me'ayin. That idea of a new note, a new thought, a new machshava. It's all a connection to the source. As I think Rav Shmuel said well, it's the source of Mechadesh B'choyim. That's the only possibility that there can be. And all this is to explain what the Sherish Neshama is and what we are not necessarily connected to. If we were connected to our Sherish Neshama, we would know who we are, and we would have our own song to play. I just want to give you a little bit of introduction to the next paragraph. Remember, we learned that all of this you'll find in the Oisius of a Sefer Torah. Chaim, you have your chart? Okay, so how does it work? The Ois, Nekudois, and Tamim. Explain? I know the word, yeah, explain. Ois is the Ois is the Nefesh. Wake up. Means the Ruach, this is how you say it. And the Tamim is the Neshama. What's the Neshama l'Neshama in this mashal? Tagim is a goof. Tam Elyon. So Tam Elyon. He comes to reading the Aseres HaDibros and Parshas Yisro. Yeah, Tam Elyon, not Tam Elyon. Those are deep things. You can't play around with this. You have to know what you're doing. Because Tam Elyon is the Neshama l'Neshama. It's so logical, by the way, that like the niggin of the words, I gave an example a few weeks ago. The way you can tell if somebody knows how to learn Gemara or they don't know how to learn Gemara is not by the words or the translation. It's the niggin, unless you're really a good faker. Like there's a niggin to the Amarava, so you know whether it's a kasha or a teretz. So the niggin is the neshama of the learning, if you will. The tam is the neshama. If you read without tamim, without the trop. But the tam elyon is, you'll find by two things. You'll find by three things really. You'll find by Shaar, by Hazinu, and by Aseres HaDibros. So Shira is something which is an opportunity for something completely new, because the tam elyon in this whole construction here, this whole structure, is the neshama l'neshama. Hazinu people read in tam elyon. Some people. That's what it is. It's not tam elyon. That's a different tam. It's not called tam elyon. It's not called tam elyon.
The Gemara says in the Megillah, Kollel Bais HaTalmud. I don't know the pasuk, but
right. So it's not positive. Meaning, what is not? You see, that's usually taken of like you're not happy when you're learning. But what it really means is that you're missing the neshama. And then the tam elyon is if I can have this new chiddush in learning. Like, what is a chiddush? What is a chiddush? A chiddush is that I can be megala something that has never been meskala before. Chiddush.
That Shabbos is in the Shama Yisera. Shabbos also says, the verse says you have to have chiddush on Shabbos.
Nice, very nice.
So the tam elyon is on Shavuos for.
Because we're getting to a higher, right, like Shavuos. Not on Parshas Yisro.
And we said that that's at Har Sinai is when they.
Right, Shavuos.
By definition, there is no chiddush. Everything is a repetition of what we knew before. Or we didn't know it was known. So there are no original.
Until you get to the Chaya Yechida. Until you can get to the Chaya Yechida, Mashiach is a chiddush. There'll be an eighth note. The chiddush can only come from a higher place of the Brias HaOlam. So I want to just before, maybe today or on Sunday we'll finish this Parak Yud Zayin, but just to understand something here, that the Ramchal says in Derech Hashem, Chelek Beis, the Ramchal says that before there was creation as we know it, talks about this exactly, there was complete achdus. Meaning, let's talk about the Elamai. So Atzilus, Bria, Yetzira, Asiya, before there was a Pirud as we know it. So in this higher world that we're talking about, there's complete achdus. That's why Vayichan Yisrael neged Har. It wasn't just like achdus that we all stood there at Har Sinai, we shall overcome. It's not like we became a bunch of hippies. What happened there was that we were connecting on the level of Chaya Yechida, and the level of Chaya Yechida is no machlokes. When you get to Adam Rishon Koydem Achet, there's no divisions. The whole division, like what would be is Peledic. What would be if there's no division? You see, let me explain this a little bit. But like, let's say, like everybody says, Murgala B'Pumadam, that when a chassan and kala is standing under the chuppah, so you're bringing two neshamas together, two half neshamas together, and it's a romantic thing to say and to feel. Not right. It's not right. These two neshamas have been together since the beginning of creation and maybe a couple million years earlier. These two half neshamas are one neshama. But we're living in a world of division, so we're divided from our wives and wives from their husbands. It's under the chuppah where it's possible, with the right kavanah, to reach a makom of nefesh, ruach, harayat mekudeshesli, neshama, chaya, yechida, to experience for a moment, the oneness of our two neshamas. You're not bringing anything together. On the contrary, you're probably splitting them apart. But at this moment, there is an experience. At the moment of the chuppah, there's an experience of chaya yechida, and in chaya yechida, two half neshamas are one. And now work with that for the rest of your life. That's the part. And there's no marriages that are the same. There's no people that are the same. There's no, and sometimes I guess maybe it's wrong, but there's some kind of a chen, which Hashem gives us as a gift to work with shalom bayis. But the only chance for any kind of, in my opinion, the only chance for any kind of real shalom bayis is to connect on a higher level. The only chance for any kind of achdus in this Klal Yisrael of ours is if we can connect on a higher level, like we did at Har Sinai. Not just a big mountain and a big cause, but actually connecting in a world which is before the Pirud. If you can connect, if we can reach a world which is before a Pirud, there's no. It's achdus automatically. You don't have to fight the differences between us. So what we're talking about, point one, when we're talking about Chaya Yechida, is Echad Gamor. And that achdus, the more sinas chinam there is here, the more we're fighting against that achdus and Chaya Yechida, and the more there can't be a geula. That's the way that works.
Under the chuppah, you're saying it's a gift, and we have to try and maintain it rather than
There's a
gilui.
It's like Yom Kippur, like the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur. It's as simple as that. What happened with the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur in the Kodesh HaKadoshim? There was a gilui of Chaya Yechid of Klal Yisrael. Now this is what's interesting. Let me just say one last thing, which I shouldn't say in 1 minute, but I will. That before the period there was one Klal Yisrael. There was one Klal Yisrael. In the world of Kisei HaKavod, in the world of Bria, there's one Klal Yisrael. And the Klal Yisrael then gets divided into Shvatim, into Mishpachas, into Batim, into individuals. It gets divided, which is okay. That's the way Hashem created the world. That's not a bad thing. It would be pretty boring if we were all one. But
at that moment, there was one man before the Rishon. There was no division.
Right. I'm giving an example of Chaya Yechida. But what I want to say is something that the Ramchal says, that in that, let's get back to this idea, in that spiritual DNA, let's say of the individual, in the spiritual blueprint, DNA blueprint that's there, let's call it, and I just want to get back to where we started, the Adam Kadma. So there is, says the Ramchal, just to expand our thinking here a little bit, something to think about, there are many, many possibilities of how this person could come out. It's not the Adam Kadmon, just because there's a certain genetic blueprint disposition, it can come out many different ways, depending on the choices that we make. So it's there, but it could come out this way, it could come out that way. The same thing is with the world. It could come out this way, it could come out that way. We have, it's like everything, what we have to understand about Bechira Chavshitz is that with Torah, we have a tool, says the Ramchal, to be able to do what we were designed to do in its best possible way. So, so you could have the exact same person. Tzaddik v'rasha loy namar, the Gemara says. There's no gzeira on a person whether you're going to be a tzaddik, whether you're going to be a rasha, maybe whether you're going to be tall, whether you're going to be short, whether you're going to be rich, whether you're going to be poor. But there's no gzeira, tzaddik v'rasha loy namar. Why? Because this was the whole bria of the world. That's what Adam Marishan did for us. That there's a spiritual DNA, but it's interesting. All kinds of possibilities can come out of this. And it could come out looking this way, and it could come out looking that way. So let me give you a mashal which really needs its own mashal. But let me just say this before I leave. That in the Torah itself, like remember we said Nefesh Ruach Neshama is the oisim, the nekudas and the tamim. In the Torah itself, there's a number of different ways that the Torah could have been written. Are my nuts or what? This is called tzirufei oisius. What are tzirufim? So the most common example is where the Gemara says in Gittin that Moshe Rabbeinu, how did he write the last 8 psukim of the Torah? Could he have possibly wrote Vayamas Moshe? If it's not true, Moshe Badoy, the Gemara says well, Moshe was lying. Even if he had a nevuah, that's what he should write. But how could he write it if it didn't happen? So the Gemara gives an answer. The Gemara says an answer which is not an answer. The Gemara says that Hashem dictated the whole Torah to him, and Moshe Rabbeinu wrote down the whole Torah. And at this point, he wrote it b'dema, with tears. And the Gaon famously says, what is the dema? Dema, he says, doesn't mean tears at all, unless this is what tears mean. It's a lashon damua, it's a lashon of mixed up, meaning that Moshe Rabbeinu just wrote down the letters. Vav, Yud, Mem, Tav. He just wrote down the letters. He didn't put in the spaces. He didn't give it the nekudos. He didn't give it the tagnim. So it's just the oisios. The oisios could have spelled something. Have you ever seen one of those codes things? They get on my nerves. You know what I mean? They show you all the codes of the Torah. It's an interesting thing. It gets on my nerves because why don't you just read the Chumash? I don't know what they're reading. I don't get it. I mean, they're not Mekubalim to know the codes. Okay, but it was Yoshua bin Nun who took the code, who knew the code of Moshe Rabbeinu's letters, and it came out so beautifully. Vayamas Moshe Vayamu. Well, the Shaar HaKadosh says this. Listen to this. Wrap your brain around this. The Shaar HaKadosh says that if Adam Arishan would not have been chayta, what would have happened to the whole Chumash as we know it? What would happen? Wouldn't they had it? It would have been something else. Same oisi is something different, says the Shlomo. But it would have been the same thing, but you would have read it different. Would have been maybe a different language. It would have been different. You would need a Moshe Rabbeinu to decipher it in a completely different way. But so of course there would be a Torah. The Torah was the blueprint of the world, but not necessarily manifested in the words that we have, which talk about Averas, and talk about mitzvahs, and talk about klolais, and talk about brachas, and talk about misa, and no, it would have come out completely different. Same oisius, presumably. So that's what the Shaar says. That's what the Torah would have been. And I'm saying the Gra says it by the end of the Torah. So if you think about it, if a person is like the oisius of a sefer Torah, the oisius can't change. The oisius are the oisius. So it means to say that the person can come out many different ways, all based on the same oisius. And this is our choices. We have to make good choices. And by the way, just being frum is not a good enough choice. That's just a cultural choice. The choice of realizing my chayu yechida is to be able to really meditate on the fact that there is something very, very individual here. And I've got to take that and I've got to bring it into this world like an or that comes into this world, and it has to be or chadash el tziyon toyer, something new lagamri, something. It doesn't mean we have to be radical nuts, but there has to be. In fact, that's probably wrong. It's subtle, but there has to be some type of a chiddush that we can't be afraid of, and everybody's against it. Everybody's against it. You're a little bit different. You can't get into school. Everybody's is against it, which is the antithesis of Torah, because the whole Torah is that everybody's different. Like like somebody has to work on this. Somebody has to work on this point. But what I'm saying is just a theory. It's just like all the oisius of the Torah could have come out a different way. All the oisius, all the people of the world could have come out a different way, and every individual could come out a different way. And the Ramchal spells this out. in Kehillat Beis of Derech Chaim, which on Sunday I'll read to you, Derech Hashem rather. I'll read to you that it means that everybody, that Hashem put Bechira Chavshus into this, just like we could be healthy or unhealthy depending on our lifestyle, we can fulfill our tachlis and not our tachlis depending on our decisions. And this is the koach of Adam, which Malachim don't have that koach. We have that koach. Okay, we'll leave it at Agud and Chaydish.